do so at home can get into the system and you also get used to learning at home, because this is something that we need to continue. Today, we are going to do something that we call KCP, exam preparedness and exam handling. KCP, preparedness and exam handling. I believe there at home, you also need to have a pen and a book so that you can put down some points so that at least we can as well be on the same page. So in social studies, there are so many things that you need to know. One is that social studies involves history, social studies involves geography, social studies involves what we call general sciences. And it is broken down into 9 units. 9 units. And all these units are tested in KCPE. Therefore, when we are talking about us preparing you for KCPE, it has nothing else to do apart from preparing you to get good scores, to propel you to go to that dream school of yours. So you can jot down those units as follows. 1, we have the physical environment. The physical environment. The physical environment. Physical environment is the first unit that we study. It is studied across the board from class 1 all the way to class 8. So here we have talked about I have talked about the first unit being physical environment. The second unit is people and population. We need to know about the people in Africa. We need to know about the people in Kenya. What do they do? If you consider all those facts, you will study them in the second unit. The third unit is social relations and cultural activities. Social, remember right now, we are having an issue in our country. This issue is about the coronavirus. And what is the government encouraging us to do is to maintain that social distance. This means that social is when you are relating with the people. If you need to know what to do in order for you to stay safe, it is having that social distance. So social relations deal with people, and cultural activities has to do with our beliefs as communities. Unit number 4 is resources and economic activities. This unit is one of the widest units that we have because it covers a lot. It covers about mining, it covers about agriculture, it covers about forestry, it covers a lot. And therefore, even in the testing, this is where we find most of the questions coming from. We go to unit number 5, which is political developments and systems. We need to know about the politics in Kenya and even in Africa. We need to know how the government is ran. We need to know how political parties are formed. This is where we study about all those things. Then we have citizenship. Citizenship. Citizenship has to do with how to become a Kenyan legally, how to become a citizen of a country legally. You can, we will study quite a number of those issues. The 7th unit is what we call democracy and human rights. Democracy, human rights. What is democracy? The freedom of choice. What is human rights? Your entitlement as a citizen to a country. We have unit number 8, law, peace and conflict resolution. Law, peace and conflict resolution. Laws are the rules that we have as a country. Peace is the state of there having no conflicts. And of course, we have the human rights being our entitlement, and therefore the conflict resolution needs to be there. Remember, as we are solving conflicts, we are doing so that we can have peace, and therefore we need to be very, very much informed on that particular area. And our last topic is the government of Kenya, the arms of government, how they work, and through that, you can be in a position to know how the government is run. Therefore, I want to take you through something that the examiner, that is the Kenya National Examination Council, remembering that our cabinet secretary announced the other day that we are not changing the dates for the exam. Therefore, you need to prepare yourself. You need to be very much ready for the exam. And I'm telling you here, that I am going to give you the courage to face the exam even when you are at home. So enjoy, just relax, and I will give you the guidance that you need. Now, looking at the analysis that we have here, we can also have the same on the screen. That is slide 2. Analysis of units that were tested in the year 2018 and 2019. I want to take you through that very fast. The physical environment in 2019 had 12 questions, and in 2018 it had 11 questions. People and population had 5 questions tested in 2019, and in 2018, 5 questions. Social relations and cultural activities, 4 questions in KCP 2019 and 3 questions in KCP 2018. Resources and economic activities, as I told you, this is one of the topics that is really tested. 20 questions in 2019 and 18 questions in 2018. Political development and systems, 18 questions in 2019 and 8 questions in 2019 and 9 questions in 2018. Political development and system, that is it. Citizenship, 2 questions in 2019, 1 question in 2018. And democracy and human rights, 2 questions 2019, 3 questions in 2018. Law, peace, conflict resolution, 5 questions 2019, 4 questions 2018. Government of Kenya, 2 questions 2019 and 4 questions in 2018. We can go live. Now, considering that, there is something that you need to be very specific, that those topics that are large have larger number of questions being tested. That means you need not to relax. You need to go read your books, prepare, do as much as you can so that you are in line with what the examiner is likely to test you. I want to take you through challenges faced by candidates when they are preparing or when they are sitting for their exam. There are so many things that can make you to fear. There are so many things that can make you to go down and you end up not getting the marks that you deserve. One of those challenges is what we call inadequate syllabus coverage. Now that we are at home, teachers are not in class teaching, but you still need to prepare. You still need to get the right content. What do you need to do? What do you need to do? 1, you need to make sure that you read. And as you read, expose yourself to questions. Nowadays, I believe obtaining the past KCPEs questions is as simple as ABC. What do you need to do? The internet is there. You can Google and you can get all those questions there. Use those questions, refer to the content that has been taught, and by that way, you will be in a position to cover the syllabus as required. Talk about the examination discipline. This is another area that candidates are really having a challenge when we talk of the examination discipline. Examination discipline entails a lot. 1, there are those learners who will get the correct answer, the correct argument, but when you're transferring the answer, you transfer the wrong one. You know, in primary school, we have choices, we have options. In secondary schools, you write direct what you find as your correct answer. But here you have to argue with the points that you are given. So what exactly do you need to do? You need to analyze your work very well. And then at long last, make sure that whatever the choice that you've chosen, if it is A, if it is option A, and you have realized that option A in question number 11 is the correct answer, make sure that you don't write option B instead of A, because A is the most correct one and A is what the examiner has set as the correct answer. If you find yourself messing up with the answering of questions, then it means you don't have a good discipline when it comes to the exam. Sleeping during the exam, KCPE, my friend. When you're talking about the exam, this is something that is preparing you to the next level. So you need to be very keen when you are dealing with the questions. Now, I've talked about inadequate syllabus coverage. I've talked about examination discipline. We have poor revision techniques. Poor revision techniques. By this, I mean how you go through your revision, how you go through your books. How do you do your revision? Are you that person who reads social studies like a novel? This is not a novel work. what you need to do is to analyze your work slowly by slowly. Have guiding questions. Have the previous examination questions with you. Have the syllabus. And I know a majority of you don't have the syllabus with you. The examination nowadays does not scare. I believe the Kenya National Examination Council has gone further to make sure that nowadays we don't suffer. I want to show you something here. We have the KCP 2011. What color was it? That is correct. That's blue. We have another color here. That is KCP 2012, a different color from 2011. We have another color here, KCP 2013, a different color from the first one and the second one. We have KCP 2014, a different color, which is not white. I know you may not be clearly seeing it. Oh, thank you very much. At least now you can see the color. Different from all the others, we have KCP 2015, a totally different color from the others. We have KCP 2016. This is where the game changed. KCP 2016 was white in color. This is where Kenya National Examination Council decided now candidates who fear colors, because this is another challenge that we face. Candidates who fear colors are used to black and white all through. This is the white. We have the black and white in 2017. We have black and white in 2018, and we have black and white in 2019. Guess what? 2020 probably we may be having black and white. Away from that, we talk about negative peer influence. Negative peer influence. You know, as a candidate, you need to have what we call self-drive. You don't need to be pushed by other people to do what is right. You know what you expected. You went to school alone and you're making your life alone. Stick to that. If you need guidance, you have teachers. If you need guidance, you have positive-minded learners. Use them in order for them to be in a position to guide you. Then the other one is language barrier. I know the examination language in social studies is English. If you don't have good mastery of English, of course, understanding will be a challenge. So you need to practice a lot in language so that you can also understand the questions that are tested in KCPE, which is a national exam. The state of mind, the mindset during the examination. When it comes to that exam time, you need to set your mind and focus on the exam and prepare for the examination, so that you can prepare your mind psychologically and prepare to answer questions the right way. Remember, we said life depends on what you focus on. Therefore, the mindset that you need to have is positive one, so that you can be in a position to do the right thing. Distractors. These are things that makes you to deviate from what is expected. There are so many distractors that can be there. If, for example, you are in northern Kenya and probably we have the government, they're trying to refurbish the classrooms. What will happen in the process? You are doing the exam and maybe outside the school or within the school compound, there is a lot of noise. Remember, you must focus on what you're doing. Don't focus on what is going on outside there. There can be two types of distractors. That is the material distractors and human distractors. Your friend in the classroom can also be a distractor. Probably they are swinging their leg when you are sitting for an exam, and there you are looking at their leg instead of focusing on what you expect on what you expected to do. So distractors can only be avoided by focusing on the main agenda that brought you to that particular room. We have the myths, the stereotypes, the misconceptions. I don't know whether this issue is true, but there are some people out there who believe that they can't pass in SST. That is something that you need to deregister in yourself, because it is not true. You are very strong, and you need to erase that part that always communicates to you, telling you you cannot do it. Remember, it is all about reading. It is all about being attentive in class. It is all about being composed. And that one will make sure that those myths that people have always directed to you, or you have always thought of, are completely removed from that particular area. So focus and avoid those myths and misconceptions and even the stereotypes that people have over you. Confidence. Remember, we have overconfidence. When you have prepared enough and you feel, I am now very much ready for the exam, I think there is no question that can challenge you. That is wrong. That is very wrong. Remember, the examiner tests you. And when they are preparing those questions, their intention is not to make you pass. It is to make the exam challenging for you so that they can have few people at the top and few people at the bottom. So they make sure that the question distribution is done in a way to favor the people who are doing the right thing, who are not overconfident, who are not underconfident. You need to focus. You need to be composed. Do your examination under composure, and by so doing, you will be ahead of the others. There are so many other distractors that we can have, but I just wanted to highlight those that I have realized are challenging most of the candidates in this country, our beautiful country of Kenya. Now, as I started with, I said in social studies we have 9 units. The paper, looking at the 2019 KCPE, it has questions drawn from all those units. The first 7 questions are map work questions. It is called map reading and interpretation. A map is a diagram, a sketch showing a particular area in a given region. And in social studies, we have question 1 and 7 being tested, and you only need to observe. Use your eyes, use your previous content covered, and you will be in a position to answer that question. Questions are tested that way so that the candidate can be in a position to read books. The intention of the examiner is to make you read, not to make you sleep, not to make you enjoy, not to make you watch all those programs that you are watching at home. It is to make you read books. And remember, Africans who fear getting knowledge from books have a challenge. So you need to get out of that comfort zone. Get to the books, read, be ready. And I'm telling you, come November 2020, you will see how you will feature well in the examination. So question number 1 to 7, map work, reading, and interpretation, is tested in various areas. I want to take you through some of the areas that are tested. We have 7 questions. The first area that is tested is what we call direction of places, river flow, gradient of the land. Direction in this case, I want to elaborate a bit, uses the cardinal point, the compass direction. The compass direction. This part is what we call the true north. The true north, let me use a pen that is a bit legible. True north. This one is south. And remember, you need to be very specific. Some confuse the directions. East is on this side. This side is east, and this side is west. So if the examiner is testing the direction from point A to point B, I'm assuming that the examiner has a map here for you. Call it more area. And the examiner intends to test a direction of a place from another. Probably this one is a school. We can call it Geza School. This other one here is a hospital. And then the examiner asks, what is the direction of the hospital to Geza School? The key word there is from. From means where you are starting, and towards means where you are headed to. So in this case, we are starting from the hospital towards the school. Where do you need to draw the compass? Don't put your compass here. Put your compass at the hospital, because the question was from the hospital. This is it. North, south, east, west. Then what is the next step? Join the compass direction from the center to where Geza School is. Then identify that direction. Which direction will that be, Lana? The direction is between north and west, and therefore it will be northwest. Remember, the key word that I used in this particular case was from, which states where you are starting, and towards, which states where you are going to. So you need to be very much focusing on that particular area. We can also talk about the direction of the river flow. Let me get back to my map, more map. These are tributaries of a river. The river is flowing from northeast, and it is flowing towards southwest. The river is flowing towards southwest. What can the examiner test here? The examiner can ask you, what is the general flow of river, we can call it River Moa. What is the general flow of River Moa? You will say River Moa flows from northeast to southwest. And there you will be in a position because it is starting from the highest part to the lowest part. And this lowest part is the direction the river is flowing towards. That is about the river. Now, we can use the same river to describe the appearance of the land. The land is said to slope from highest area to the lowest area, and it rises from the lowest area to the highest area. So in this particular case, the question can be, the land in Moa area slopes towards. This is a summary of what I need you candidate, wherever you are at home, to have in order to make your work easier. I'm assuming this is a hill, and this hill represents this area. This is the highest area, this is the lowest area. And I said, from the highest area to the lowest area, that one we refer to it as sloping. From the lowest area to the highest area, that one we referred to it as rising. So you go back to the map and look at the highest area. Which is the highest area, Lana? Good. The highest area is to the northeast, where the river is starting. Which is the lowest area, Lana? Good. The lowest area is to the southwest. Therefore, the land slopes from northeast to the southwest and rises from, good, rises from southwest to northeast. That one is simple. Why are you saying that you can't understand that? It is as simple as that. What you need to do is to identify the direction, identify the highest area, and you're good to go. Map work, another map work area that is tested is what we call the growth of town. I want to join the two, growth of towns and functions of towns. We go back to our map. Our map has got a road. We can erase the part of the river because I don't want it to be congested too much. This particular area here has a road, and this road has a junction. Sorry, my pen is having a challenge. Good. That is the road, and then we have a town developing here. Let us call it Moa Town. What has led to the growth of that town? Of course, it is a Makutano town, because there are two roads meeting there. The area ended up developing into a Makutano town. That particular town grew because of transport. Therefore, you can say the town grew because of transport and communication, and therefore it serves as a transport and communication center. It grew because of the road junction in that particular area. Major economic activity in an area. Major economic activity in an area. When we talk about major economic activities, these are activities that are most dominant. The key word there being mainly. Mainly means it is the most dominant. We can have quite a number of them, but the one that appears more than the other is said to be the main economic activity. That being the case, you need to use your eyes. You need to use your eyes wide open. If you find a candidate failing map work questions, that candidate is not serious. because what you need is to use your eyes. You need signs and symbols. You need only your eyes and the content that has been covered. And if you use that content, you will be in a position to answer a question easily. Question number 4 is what we call calculation of regular and irregular shapes. Calculation of regular and irregular area of shapes of particular things. I want to summarize something here very fast. Maybe if you have a KCPE past papers with you, quite a number of them, you can also check with me. In calculation of regular and irregular shapes, there is something I want to summarize here. Look at some of these things. In 2019, what was tested, Lana? What was tested in 2019? Good, it's a regular shape. That regular shape is a rectangle. What is the area of a rectangle? You need to use some basic mathematics here. Length times width. And there you go. If you work out after measuring, you will get your answer. The key point that you need to consider here is the use of the scale given. We have quite a number of scales. We have the linear scale, we have the statement scale, we have the representative scale. Most of the scales that are used are the linear scales. You just need to use a straight-edged paper or a string that is not elastic. You measure and then you write your number that you have realized is the length or the width. Question, a question tested in 2018 map work about the area. What was tested again, Lana, in 2018? That is very good. In 2018, what was tested again was a regular shape. In this particular case, the regular shape was a triangle. What is the area of a triangle? We said we need some basic mathematics. Regular shape, triangle. It is a half base times height. In this particular case, maybe I can highlight for those who may not be having that concept. This is the height and this is the base. If you measure the base and you find 4, and you measure the height and you find 2, what you need to do is just work out a half base, which of course is 4, times height, which of course is 2. What do you get? What do you get? By 2, 1 by 2, 2 times 2, 4. Remember, you don't leave the answer that way. If you leave the answer that way, probably the examiner might decide to give you 4 and then 4 kilometers as units, and then choice C, 4 kilometers squared. You need to make sure that you indicate the units as required. And in that particular case, the basic mathematics concepts have been used, and you are good to go. Maybe because of interest of time, I want to take you very fast through the others without writing. Question in 2017, distance. They never tested area, so you need to measure the distance. 2016, again, area of a rectangle, regular shape. 2015, rectangle again. 2014, a trapezium. 2013, distance. 2012, distance. 2011, distance. And 2010, an area of a triangle. So working out is simple. And according to what I have seen, they can't easily bring you an irregular shape. But if they bring, you are equal to the task. Deal with it the way your teacher guided you. It is also important to remember that we have our numbers scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Make sure if you have any question, if you have any compliment, you can use the numbers at the bottom of your screen to put your questions across. Now, talk about measuring distance between points. I think I have joined the two together so that we can calculate and measure at the same time. Local authorities is another area that is tested, and its functions. Remember, this area nowadays has been placed under the county government, and therefore the functions performed by the county governments are more or less the same with the functions performed by the local authorities, because local authorities serves the county governments. We have description of climate. What do we use to describe climate? What do you use to describe climate? If you see an area where T coffee, pyrethrum is grown. This particular area is a cool and wet area. If you see an area where we have sugar cane being grown, we have bananas being grown, we have cotton being grown, and of course not through irrigation, this particular area is a hot and wet area. If you find sisal, if you find scrubs, if you find scattered grass, this particular area is a hot and dry area. Talk about the types of vegetation. Vegetation are classified into two. We have the natural vegetation, which exists by themselves, and we have the planted vegetation, like I've talked about tea, coffee, pyrethrum. These are planted by human beings. Population distribution and settlement. This is another area that challenges candidates. When we talk about population distribution, this is the way people are spread in a particular area. If people are very many in that particular area, we call this particular population dense population. If there are few people, this is sparse population. What will you use to describe the population of a particular area? It is the number of settlements that you can find in that area. And therefore, that takes us to the next level, which is settlement. Settlement has to do with the way the houses are distributed. If they are distributed in a way that they form a line, that one is called linear settlement. People who settle along the road, people who settle along the river, we say that particular settlement is linear. If we find people who are in clusters, one cluster here, another cluster there, that is a group. We call that one clustered settlement. And quite a number of them will form what we call the nucleated settlement. Then we have what we call the dispersed or the scattered settlement. This is whereby you find one settlement, one house here, another one is a kilometer away, another one is in another area. These types of settlement are commonly found in areas that are not good for settlement, good to attract people, where the climatic condition is harsh. Am I clear? Are we communicating learners there at home? I'm still encouraging you. Remember, when you are learning social studies, the first thing is to love the subject. The first thing is to love the subject. The second one is to make sure that this paper that you're handling, this exam that you're handling is what you love the most. Even if you don't love it at that particular preparation period, and you will find yourself getting the best of the best. Administration and leadership in a particular area. Administration and leadership, it has to do with the leaders in an area. For example, if it is a county, we have the governor. We also have the representative of the national government in the county being the county commissioner. We have districts, the former districts being headed by district commissioner. Nowadays, we are calling them the sub-counties, being led by the sub-county administrators or sub-county commissioners. We have the divisions led by district officers. We have the location headed by chiefs, the sub-location headed by the sub-chiefs, and we have even villages still in existence headed by the village elders. Talk about social services. Social services are represented in a map by use of religious or worship centers. We have mosques, we have churches, we have temples. Those one represents areas that have got religious. We can also have absence of religious center. This means the people in that particular area are pagans. If you find an area having shrines, it means the people in that particular area are traditionalists. Education is another social service. Education, I told you at the start of the lesson that you need to have a pen and a paper. I want to cover as much as possible, so I hope you are writing something so that you can later study and get into the depth of that content I'm giving you. Education is represented by colleges, it is represented by schools, it is represented by universities. Any learning institution indicates education. We have health, the hospitals, hospice, dispensaries, clinics. Anything that shows that health services are offered in a particular area indicates health as a social service. We have means of transport. I want to wind up this particular map work with means of transport. A very simple question, but a majority of the learners fail. Why? Because the examiner is used to testing that the main measure of transport in a particular area is road, the runner always writes the answer as road instead of observing and studying the map. Remember we said you need to use signs and symbols to interpret the map. And I say the map is a representation of the part of the earth and part of the earth in a particular area, which can be a wall, which can be a floor, which can be a paper, all those things. What you need to do is to study and then get the answer, draw your answer from the map. Stop assuming that the examiner will always test that. It is a matter of you observing what the examiner is testing, read, extract the content, then answer accordingly. We are moving on very well, and I'm happy. Let's talk about something else, which is the second one. And this one now, I want us to go to the other questions and maybe get quite off from the map work. Remember, this paper has 60 questions tested across the board from the 9 units. There are so many techniques that you can use to make your work easier. For example, when you are dealing with work that is given in a particular area, it is important to follow some steps when answering questions. And these steps are outlined clearly. And it is very important to follow them, because if you skip this step, you may end up messing. Remember, I explained a point here and I said, a learner has written the answer as B, but the correct one is supposed to be A. This will definitely make you to fail. But it is something that is very simple if you are only keen and your state of mind is stable. Let's talk about reading the questions well. You need to read the question well, know what exactly you are required. As you can see on your screen there, you can also write down on that particular book that you have. Comprehend what the examiner wants from you. To comprehend is to understand. What exactly does the examiner need from you? Are you in a position to respond positively from what the examiner tested? Interpret every word and relate with the content learned. Interpret every word. Don't only read the question and when you find the answer, you end up finishing. No, you need to read each and every point, even from the choices. Choice A, choice B, choice C, choice D, each of them. Talk about respond to the question by choosing the correct choice from the multiple choices. Choose the correct choice. Don't just go around and end up messing. Choose the correct choice. And then transfer the correct answer to the answer sheet. Remember, what will be handed to the Kenya National Examination Council is not this paper. It is the answer sheet where you transfer your answers. That is what will be marked. So if you mark here A, and then the answer sheet you mark B, yet the correct answer is A, what will be taken to the Kenya National Examination Council is B, and you will end up failing. So transfer correctly and make sure you do the right thing. Then reserve some time for you to be in a position to go through your paper. 60 questions, you need to go through it very well and make sure and ascertain that what you have transferred to the answer sheet is what you got as the answer in the question paper. Stop assuming that you are very clean. Stop assuming that you are very okay, and then you decide that you will hand over the paper that way. It is you that will be suffering. Remember, you need to be very keen in whatever you are doing. You need to be mindful of the school that you chose. I know most of you would like to go to national schools. If our schools can afford to take all of you, I know all of you will want to go to national schools. I want to give an example of a question that was tested in KCP 2019, question 11. The question reads, the reason why John Speck came to Eastern Africa was to. The reason why John Speck came to Eastern Africa was to. Choice A was given as explore the source of River Nile. Choice B was abolish slave trade. Choice C was spread Christianity. And choice D was set up administrative centers. You can see it on your screen. That is the question. that question, we can use it to apply the steps that I talked about. For example, reading the question, that is common sense. You read every point given in that particular question. Comprehend what the examiner wants. For example, who was John Speck? Correct. He was an explorer. That is true. Another question from the same. What were the roles of explorers? Because this question is also testing that. Then once you outline all of them, you will be in a position to argue correctly. Word by word. Read word by word. That was interpreting every word and relating to the content. Make sure that choice B, you read it very well. For example, slave trade. Who conducted slave trade? Slave trade was conducted by the Arabs. Arabs came as traders. That one now, you're okay. Talk about spread Christianity. Who are those people who are spreading Christianity? It was the work of the missionaries. You are still going through. Set up administrative centers. This is work that was done by colonialists. If you interpret all that, you will end up getting your answer as A, which is explore the source of Nile. Explore the source of Nile. And that one is the work of the explorers. John Speck was an explorer. He is said to have discovered the source of River Nile to be Lake Victoria. That being the case, then it means you are good to go and you don't have anything to fear. Are we together, candidates? Are we together, learners at home? Make sure you do the right thing. And by so doing, you will be in a position to score what is expected of you. I want to wind up with use of elimination strategy to get the correct response. Use of elimination strategy to get your correct response. In this case, I want you to look at your screen there. KCPE 2011, question 50. KCPE 2011, question 50. Comparison between tourist attractions in Switzerland and Kenya. Coastal beaches. Kenya, of course, has coastal beaches. When you go to Switzerland, you can't find coastal beaches. Why? Switzerland is a landlocked country in Europe. That is it. Winter sports. Winter sports. Kenya lies within the tropics. We cannot experience winter and summer. These are seasons experienced in northern and southern poles of this particular group. We have varied glacier sceneries. Varied glacier sceneries. When we talk about the varied glacier sceneries, in this particular case, we talk about glacier being the movement of ice. Moving ice is called glacier. And in Kenya, I think the only place that we experience moving ice is on top of Mount Kenya, which is a snow-capped mountain. Do we have tourist attraction in other parts of Kenya which has to do with glacier? No. So this one is particular to a certain country, which is Switzerland. And lastly, hot, sunny climate throughout the year. Hot, sunny climate throughout the year. That is for Kenya. So which combination, of course, gives the tourist attraction in Switzerland, candidate? Correct. That is winter sports and varied glacier sceneries. I believe, having done that, what we need now to do is to prepare for the next lesson. I believe I have given you some guidance. We are going to keep on making sure that we are with you. KUTV, Elimu Live will get in touch with you all through. Every time from 8 to 9, we will be handling the class 8 candidates in all the subjects, and make sure that you stay tuned, because this is exactly what we need. I have one more question that I want to wind up with, which is coming from you learners. The question is asking, who is the senior most administrator in the county? I know this question has been tested quite a number of times. We have the governor and we have the county administrator. Remember, when we talk about the administrative duties in the county, they lie under the county commissioner, because he is the representative of the national government in administration. The governor is the head of the county. The governor is the president of the county. So his work is to serve the county people in various areas. But when it comes to administration, that is work conducted by the county commissioner. Now, candidate, I am happy that you have listened to me, that you have sat down there listening to me and making some points. We will meet next week, same time, same place, at KUTV, Elimu Live. If you have any question, any compliment, at the bottom of your screen, we have numbers that are scrolling there. You can also join us through KUTV Kenya Facebook page, whereby you can give your comments there, and by so doing, we will be together. Be safe, take care of yourself, and goodbye.